So I was so encouraged, but I continued doing sports. I was Bishop Shanan First 11. Then from number 27 to number 21 to 18 to 16 to 12, I continued moving forward front. And ultimately, by the time we graduated, I had developed sufficient leadership abilities to be appointed school prefect. I was a senior labor prefect. The first time somebody from rural area, because most of the boys that came were ministers and House of Representatives children. And those of us from the rural areas were always looked down upon. I became senior labor prefect. I became a member of the sports team, a member of the football team, First 11. There's an incident that happened in BSc and CIC. These were the two Marist schools then. And I was pitted to compete in 880, 880 yards. And the CIC was defeating us by 2 points. But this long distance race was the last event. By the time of the last event, people started leaving, thinking that we had lost. But when the race started, one Ezekiel Meje from Obiohia, it's a terrific miler. He took off. I followed him. Before you know it, we got first and second, and therefore we had enough points to defeat CIC. In any case, in our final year, we all took exams into higher school program. At that time, there were only 2 higher schools in Eastern Region for Catholics, St. Patrick's Calabar and CKC Onitsha. We all went to Calabar for the exam, went to CKC. I was one of the 4 from my school that passed into CKC. So we graduated from BSc in 1958. So 59, we started our higher school program. Again, I got to CKC. I was a very active footballer, a member of the first team. And again, leadership thing just kept developing. Before we finished, I was made the school prefect in charge of labor, school labor prefect. And so there were 28 of us from the whole Eastern region taken for that program. And of that 28, 8 of us passed. Cambridge Higher School, I was one of the ones that passed. So I took up appointment at Bishop Shanahan, my alma mater, as a science teacher. I taught maths for the lower classes, maths, chemistry, biology, and that was 1960 was the year we did the higher school exam, and 1960 was year of independence. So when Nigeria became independent, a lot of countries gave scholarships to Nigerians in order to bring up people who will administer the country. Princess Alexandria came for the independence thing. So when Princess Alexandria came to the East, the premier, Dr. Michael Okpala, was asking for a horticulturist who would prepare nice flower and things for her. They said, we have no horticulturists in the whole region. The man said, after independence, that's the first thing we must send somebody to the university to learn. So after independence, the result of the higher school exams came in March. So we all started applying for admission into universities. By that year, 1960, Nsukka had again begun. So I applied for agriculture at Nsukka. I applied for agriculture at Ibadan. I applied for medicine in Heidelberg, Germany, and St. Andrews in UK. Head gave me admission, St. Andrews didn't. So, lo and behold, the Catholic Church gave 2 scholarships to the dioceses, Catholic dioceses, for each diocese in Nigeria. So I was awarded the one for Warri Diocese, and to go and do medicine in Rome. I had 4 in the school certificate. Latin was. So I said, by then, the East Regional Government had given me a scholarship to go and study agriculture at Cornell. Cornell had given me admission. So I had these admissions and 2 scholarships. The one of the church came a little later. So I was more interested in medicine. I thought that it would be better for me. So I was pursuing it. Forgot all about this one. So I went to my uncles and pleaded for help. All the scholarship said, once you arrive in Rome, you know, here you start operating. We didn't have the knowledge of asking for, you know, travel grant. Nobody knew anything. So my uncle thought that plane ticket would be a huge sum of money. It wasn't. It's just ignorance. So at the end, they said, no, why don't you go and take this one that is free? So by the time I had left this other one, I came back to ask for the one to Cornell. They sent me to Lagos to get a visa. I went there. They cabled Cornell. Cornell said I was too late. So here I was. 2 scholarships, nowhere to go. So I came home and locked myself up. Well, somewhere along the line, something happened, and the principal, Bishop Shanahan, took me back to teach. So at Dolbat Ejimaka, FB Aneke, Dennis Ndubuizu, these leaders in rural pressed upon Mbamalo, S.I. Mbamalo, who was the secretary of the scholarship board, to do something about this boy. So I came home for Christmas. Suddenly I got a telegram to proceed to Enugu. I went to Enugu. They gave me, said, go to Lagos, get a visa. Cornell said that I could come mid-term, the January admissions. So in January 1962, middle of winter, I found myself, you know, going to Cornell. I got there. They have already done 1 semester. So I now had to apply myself very seriously. The scholarship was for floriculture. So I went to Cornell and went to floriculture department. And the head of the department said, where do you come from? I said, Nigeria. He said, where the hell is that? I mean, is that Nicaragua? I said, no. Where is Nigeria? I said, in Africa. You know, it was a new country. He said, oh my God, you people don't need floriculture. You will need it 50 years from now. So go and do vegetable crops or fruit production. Mbamalu was smart. He didn't want to send me out alone. He had to get somebody from Rivers, Sunday Amadi. So 2 of us were sent to Cornell at the middle of the academic year. That other man was already working in the Ministry of Agriculture, and he was in charge of vegetable market garden. So he went to vegetable crops department. I had to go and register with the fruit department. So we continued and I walked my ass out. By the end of my junior year, I had made such good grades that they gave me admission to do a master's. I decided to do a master's in plant pathology. The university now wrote to my scholarship board to say this guy is good, just, you know. So they approved the thing. That is 1960. I graduated January 1965 instead of June 64. I've lost 1 semester. So I started my master's degree program. By 1967, the war was looming. So my family sent me my wife, somebody I was engaged to. So she arrived in March. We got married. And June 67, I graduated with a master's degree. And my performance was so good that they rode back to Nigeria. Of course, Nigeria, well, I'm from Biafra, so they weren't going to continue sponsoring me. So my university now applied to United Nations Education Foundation, and they gave me fellowship for PhD. So from 67 to 69, actually, I finished my work by 69. But at that time, the Vietnam War was ending. Biafra was at the war stage. And the new president said, oh, anybody that graduates should go home at once. So I risked I risked being sent back to Nigeria. So because I came as a Nigerian. So I delayed my exam. The war ended in January. I took my exam in January, and they gave me a postdoctoral fellowship. So I started work there and got a job as a visiting lecturer at the State University of New York in Binghamton. So at that point, it was all trying to get a report from home. My grandfather had just died. We had a covenant that whenever I come home, he's going to present me to Ekpa people. Unfortunately, he died in October 69, and that broke my heart. So, but all my parents were alive, all my brothers and my cousins, my own brother and cousins who went to war, all of them came back. So I made up my mind I was going to go because I want to be sure I take care of my parents. So job situation was very bad. Situation was very difficult then. I had two offers, one from DuPont and the other was from University of Maryland. I had attended the interview. But while I was in Washington, Maryland, Washington area, I visited one of our cousins, and who had run away, who had come out of Biafra. And the man advised me, better stay in America. Hey, I looked at his condition, and I said to myself, that is what is going to happen to me if I decide to stay. I say, I'm going.